Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Dear students of 11th class, our today's topic of botany, it is seed. So far as this topic seed is concerned, first we should know what is the seed. Dear students, seed is the name of a ripened ovule which contains an embryo or miniature plant in suspended animation. Educate reserve food for future development of the embryo and covering for protection against mechanical injury, loss of water pathogens, etc. So far as what is the seed? Seed is simply known as a ripened ovule. Ovule which is in a ripening condition or fully ripened, that is known as seed. Inside the seed it contains embryo or a baby plant in a suspended amination, in suspended conditions, or in a we can say that in a non-active mode. Adequate reserve food. There is also reserve food inside this seed for that period when it grows in early times. It cannot photosynthesize for that period time. There is also reserve food inside the seed for future development of the embryo and covering for protection. Also, it contains a covering outside against mechanical injury. So far as this is concerned, it has a covering outside which is seed coat. Its main aim is to against mechanical injury, also loss of water. Also, it is loss of water. It protects the seeds from loss of water and also from attack of these pathogens. A seed may have one or two coverings called seed coats. These outside coverings, these are known as seed coats. Outside covering of these seeds, they are known as seed. They are known as seed coats. So far as the outer covering, it is known as seed coat. In case of seeds, the outer or the only seed coat is called the testa, while the inner one is known as tegmen. So far as these seed coat is concerned, it is divided into two parts. Outer covering, hard covering is known as testa, and the inner one it is known as tegmen. So seed coat is divided into two coverings. Outer seed coat, it is called testa, while the inner one it is known as tegmen. The surface of the seed possesses a fine pore at one end. It is called micropyle. Now, so far as the seed is concerned, it has a fine pore at one end. This sort of one pore, it is called a micropyle. It has at one side a fine pore. It is called a micro. It is called a micropyle. There is also a scare called hilum. There is also a sort of scare in the seed. It is known as hilum. It is the place where funicle or stalk of the seed is born. Some seeds also show chalaza, place of origin of seed, and rify pod of funicle fuses the seed walls. The embryo consists of an axis or teglim to which are attached one in monocotyledonous seeds or two in dicotyledonous seeds called cotyledons. So far as in case of dicotyledons, there are two cotyledons, while in case of monocotyledons, there is only a single cotyledon. So far as these are consist of this axis, this axis this axis is known as cotyledonic axis. So far as in case of these divided into, in some cases, and these are divided two cotyledons, and in some cases these are divided only in one cotyledon. Cotyledons, or they are also known as seed leaves. The place of attachment of the cotyledon on the embryo axis is called the cotyledonary node, and this it is known as cotyledonary node, where these two cotyledons are attached to these cotyledons. It is known as cotyledonary. It is also known as cotyledonary node. The place of attachment of cotyledons on the embryo axis is called cotyledonary node. Micropyle end of the tegmen bears radical or embryonic root. So far as this axis is concerned, it has two parts. It has two parts. Micropylar end of the tegum has be a radicle or embryo which develops. It is known as radicle. And this lower side of this baby plant, it has a it is known as a radicle. It is known as radicle. While as upper the other end contains plumule or the embryonic bud. So far as this axis is concerned, it is on the upper side. It has plumule on the upper side, which later on develops into shoot, and on the lower side, this axis is has a radicle, which later on develops into embryonic root. Embryonic root also develops embryonic root from this radicle. So far as this axis concerned, it has two sides. Upper side it is known as plumule, and the lower one it is radicle. This plumule later on develops into shoot or embryonic bud, while the lower version it develops into radicle or embryonic root. The part of the embryonic axis or tegum between the radicle and caudal node is known as hypocotyl. This and this portion between the radicle and this portion, so far as this portion is concerned, a radicle and a quaternary node. Radicle and quaternary node divide. Radicle and this is quaternary node, this is radicle. The part between these two is known as hypocotyl. It is known as hypocotyl. So far as while the other end, plumule and the quaternary node on the upper side, this is portion between the plumule and the quaternary node, it is known as epicotyl. So it has two portions. The part of embryonic axis between radicle and quaternary. The portion between the radicle, it is radicle, it is quaternary node. Between these two, there is the portion which is known as hypocotyl, and on the upper side, this quaternary node and the plumule, there is also a portion. It is known as epicotyl. It is known as epicotyl. It is known as, so there are epicotyl and there is also hypocotyl. Epicotyl is on the upper side and the hypocotyl is on the lower, that is between radicle and quaternary node. Food storing. So far as food storing tissue of a seed is endosperm. In these seeds there is a food storing tissue which is known as endosperm. It is endosperm. It stores food. In flowering plants, it is produced as a result of double fertilization. In most monocots and some dicot seeds, the food reserve remains in the endosperm. So food remains in endosperm. They are called endospermic albuminous seeds. Those seeds which contain this food reserve which contains these seeds are known as endospermic or albuminous seeds. It is found in cereals, castor, beans, coconut, etc. However, in majority of the dicot seeds, pea, gram, beans, mustard, groundnut, and some monocot seeds, the endosperm is consumed during seed development, and the food is stored in coldness and other regions. They are called non-endospermic or ex-albuminous seeds. Those are known as where the endosperm is consumed during seed development, and the food is stored in cold. Here, the food is stored in coldness. These seeds are known as ex-albuminous or non-endospermic seeds. In Ampia, the food is stored in nucellus or perisperm. The seed is called perispermic seed. In some cases, this endosperm or this food is stored in nucellus or perisperm. The seed in these cases called perispermic seeds. So far as dear students, it is sufficient today the structure of a seed and what is seed we have dealt today. It is sufficient. Next we will meet tomorrow. Thank you.